So today we're going to be doing a pitching mechanic breakdown of Chase Burns. If you don't know who that is,
Dickerson comes up empty. There it is. 102 miles an hour.
Absolutely electric, throws really hard, and he is a stud. So going over pitching mechanics, what I look for is I start with the leg kick. That's a very important piece. It sets up the timing for the rest of the delivery. And in the leg kick, for those of y'all who want to write notes, which should be everyone, but unfortunately most of y'all don't actually care about your careers, is the leg kick. First part of the leg kick. Okay, during the leg kick, what we are going to look for is two keywords, okay? Controlled momentum. Okay, controlled momentum, that's what we look for. Now, all controlled momentum is a controlled move towards the plate. Okay, can we get our body going towards the plate? Now, a perfect amount of momentum is going to be just enough where you can't go back anymore. So basically, if you were to pick your leg up right now, stand up and hold it, and then fall forward, that first point in time where you're off balance and you're far enough forward to where you can't go back anymore, that is the perfect amount of momentum that we want. That's going to set us up going forward without being too fast and without getting stuck to our backside. So that's what we're looking for throughout the leg kick. Doesn't matter how tall or how short it is, but we'll get into some other stuff like that about it, in particular with this guy. So right here, we'll look at the leg kick. So again, what we want to see is that controlled momentum forward. So we see he does a pretty good job of getting that momentum going. Okay? For those of y'all who can't see this stuff yet, we will mark it out for y'all. Okay, so it's really easy. That's where he starts. Get to the top of the leg kick right there. That's where he finishes. Okay, we zoom out. You can tell that he's definitely gotten far enough to where he can't balance. That's all we look for. That's all we want in the leg kick. That's all we need, okay? Just enough to get off our backside. Now, you can tell that he definitely does have a taller leg kick because, you know, we're getting up there pretty tall. But the reason why, I'll keep this short, but the reason why a lot of guys who throw really hard get taller leg kicks is just because the taller the leg kick is, you're not really concerned with your forward move. You're more concerned with the height. So repeatability, as far as getting the same distance every single time, is going to be a lot more consistent. So getting the amount that he gets, which is perfect as far as the forward move is concerned, and getting momentum and controlling it, the perfect amount at his really tall leg kick, there's a reason why he gets his tall leg kick. So he's not focused on moving forward. He's just focused on kicking his leg up. So that takes thought away from that, which now you can put into something else later in the delivery that maybe he struggles with or struggled with, that allowed him to free up that mind space by just getting a taller leg kick. Okay. So one thing I do want to point out is you can see that there's a runner on and he's still getting that tall leg kick. So guys like that probably can't control their momentum any other way. So like Corbin Burns is another example of someone who can't do that. And that's why his stolen base percentage against is like through the roof, even with the best defensive catcher in the MLB, in my opinion, Adley Rutschman. He still allows a lot of stolen bases because he can only feel his mechanics correctly through one leg kick. Now, mind you, if you're Chase Burns or Corbin Burns and you're just extremely dominant, then your priority should be getting the hitter. Because at the end of the day, none of the other bases, first base, second base, third base, none of those matter. Your whip is, it tells a very small story, And there's a reason why the golden standard for pitchers as far as stats go is ERA, because the only way you win games is by scoring runs. So even if you walk the bases loaded, but you punch everyone out and you don't allow runners, that as a pitcher tells a lot more of a story about you than your whip. How many batters do you allow? How many runners do you allow? Yes, does runners, especially runners in the scoring position, give opportunity to score runs? 100%. But if you're like Chase Burns or Corbin Burns, and mind you, I'm saying like specifically those guys and guys like that, when you're so elite that you can just, don't have to worry about anyone behind you because you can just literally take control of the game and dominate with your pitches and strike everyone out, then 100% I wouldn't even, if I was his pitching coach, I wouldn't try to get him to feel it, because what he does is perfect. So, mind you, that only applies to like the top 0.00001% of pitchers. So, if I had to guess, every single person watching this video, with the exception, unless like one of those people are watching, this does not apply to you, and you should learn how to control your momentum through multiple leg kicks. But for that 0.0001% who don't need to worry about it, then that's where that tall leg kick really plays into your advantage. So, next step of the delivery, zoom back out, is going to be the load. Okay? So the load. After the leg kick, you have the load. Now the load is broken down into two different pieces. So you have the downward move or the sit, okay? And then you have the ride. So the sit, the hinge, the drop, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. I like to use sit because drop and hinge and all that sounds like a squat. Squatting is into your quad. We'll get into that though, but I like sit. If you're thinking sitting into a chair, you're sitting into your backside, which means you're using your hips, and that's how you should load and not your quads. So you have the sit, and then you have the ride. So riding the slope, holding your backside, all these terms you hear, it's all the same thing. It's sitting and holding. That's the whole loading phase summed up together. Now we'll go into much more detail here with it. So you have your downward move right here. And all we're looking for in the downward move, or the start of our load, the first piece, the sit, is we are looking for our weight to be loaded into our back heel. So that comes from sitting down into your back hip. So again, we don't want to load into our quad. We want to load into our back hip. Why, Miles? I'll answer it. So the reason we want to load into our back hip and not our quad, few reasons, but the important reasons are when we go on in the delivery to throw the baseball, what is turning? The hips, okay? So why would I not want to load into the thing I'm actually going to use? Pretty common sense, right? You want to load into what actually you're going to use. Second important reason is because we don't want to push off the mound, contrary to what a lot of people say, or what you should do is try to push off the mound. You don't want to push off of the mound. You want to kind of like sit and hold. So you don't want to push off the mound. A pushing motion, that's very outdated. That whole concept of triple extension, it's been debunked, and it's a stupid theory, along with many other things that we may or may not get into. I don't know. I rant, so we'll see. But basically, first part is just sitting into your backside, sitting into your back hip, and loading all of your weight into your heel. So the keywords, similar to the leg kick, we have keywords for the load is weight, distribution. Okay, weight distribution. So We want to distribute our weight into our heel. And then as we go throughout the load, we want to keep it into our heel. So this concept is going to be really hard for some of y'all to brain and wrap your head around. So essentially, we want to move forward with the body, but stay backwards. So you want to stay back while you move forward. And it doesn't make sense, but once you understand it, it'll make all sense. And you're never going to be able to not understand it ever again. So basically, cheat code. Weight distribution. We load our weight into our heel. Now we want to just keep it into our heel. So we load it into our heel right here. And notice how that heel is just staying locked. Okay? That is him staying glued to his backside. Now, the reason why we want to do that is because eventually we're going to have to come out. We're going to have to come out of our backside and unload forward. But we don't want to unload forward too early. Because if we were to unload out of our backside right here, what do you notice about the front foot? Okay? It's in the air. So if you're unloading your backside, which simple logic here, you're unloading it forward, well, you're basically going to take it and unload it from this foot right here and try to load it into this foot right here. That's shouldn't require much explanation. Okay, you're unloading something from your backside to your front side. That's why you're trying to throw it hard forward. Okay, so we don't want to unload into nothing because his foot's not landed. Once that foot is in the ground and you can bear weight, that's when you want to transfer your energy forward, because then it can move its way up the chain, into the arm, and out of the hand, because now we went from our back foot, put it into our front side, and now this is a stable foundation if we're able to transfer it from here to there. But right now what it's doing, if you were to unload right here, which a lot of people do, if you were to unload and come out early, which is what you do when you push off the mound because you're jumping forward, you're unloading your weight, right? So if you were to push off the mound, you would be unloading your weight from your back heel, boop, into absolutely nothing because your foot's not even landed. That's why we don't want to push off of the mound, okay? So, holding your backside and riding the mound comes from just keeping your weight into your back heel. How long can you stay loaded? Now, there's not like a perfect amount to where how long you should stay loaded or shouldn't stay loaded, but for the most part, you want to stay back as long as you physically can. So obviously people with really like flexible hips are going to be able to stay back longer than someone who has really tight hips. That's where mobility plays into your pitching performance. That's why it's really important to be flexible as a pitcher. You see pitchers that stretch a lot rather than lift. So how long can you hold your backside, basically? That is riding the slope. Now, the next point in the delivery is the landing point, which is right here, okay? So the next point in the delivery is the landing point, okay? Write that down. Landing point, okay? So, I'll let you take a guess as to what the key words for the landing point are going to be. Nope, you're wrong. It's the same thing as the load. Weight distribution. Okay, weight distribution. That's what we're thinking about when we land too. Okay, and I'll show you why. You can see that when he's landed, okay, first of all, landing is when your foot is weight bearing, not initial foot strike. It's when that foot can actually bear weight. Okay. A lot of people, they don't really talk about that, or they just don't focus on that, but that is actually foot strike, because he could be like right here, if this, let's say his heel was still up, and by the time his foot lands, his body's like that. Like, that's not correct. Okay. So that would be initial foot strike. Now he's weight bearing. That's where we start. That's what we're looking for. So weight distribution. We can see right here that if we were to take his belt line, okay, draw a line through his eyes to his belt, you can clearly tell the majority of his weight is still on his backside, okay? Visually, you can tell that it looks like he's trying to stay back. So this right here is when we can begin to transfer into our front leg, okay? Because now we can actually unload into something. Since that foot is landed, now we have something to unload into, unloading our back leg into our front leg, okay? So we want to be majority on our backside at landing, okay? That's what we're looking for in the landing point. Not much more. It's not super complicated. You just basically want to stay back. Like, stay back. Stay to your backside. The longer you stay to your backside, the harder you'll throw to your front side. If you leak out early, doesn't matter how much you lift. Doesn't matter how hard you push off the mound. If you leak out of it early, you're pushing into nothing. Therefore, you just loaded your backside for no reason. Okay? So now we'll go into the next step, and the last step of pitching mechanics, or the delivery, is going to be the unload, okay? The unload. So, leg kick, load, unload. 3 keys right there, boom. Simple, easy, and I'm breaking this down so that way you can understand it in English, not baseball. Okay, so first piece of the unloading phase is going to be rotation. Okay, so we want to see those hips rotating against our front side. So you want to turn your back hip against your front leg. And I'll explain that, okay? So basically what you want to do is with your front foot, again with the heel, you want to use your front foot, now that it's landed, using your back hamstring, so your front foot locks in, pushing through your front heel, through your back hamstring to push your front hip backwards, okay? So what we're trying to do here is use our front side to take our front hip and push our front hip backwards while we're taking our back hip and turning our back hip forwards, okay? That's what we're looking for in the rotation. If you do that, the lead leg block will be amazing. And that's what we can see right here. That's when his hip's pretty much done, front hip's pretty much, or back. So right here, that's when his back hip's pretty much done turning. We'll see that front hip kind of clear the rest of it for you, okay? So that's what turning against your front side looks like rather than turning into your front side, okay? Okay, so now that we've gone over what rotation is, there is 2 focus points on rotation. We have our lower half, which is what we just covered, and then we also have the upper half, which is what we're about to cover. Now, this is the point in the video where you're going to start to see some controversial opinions come out, and I'm probably going to get some hate from some people, but at the end of the day, like it or not, hip-shoulder separation is not real. It's not a real thing. It's a made-up fad. It's a stupid concept that it just doesn't exist, and it's not like the recipe you're all looking for. It's not the secret to throwing 10 miles an hour harder in 2 weeks. Like, that's all bullshit, okay? If you think genuinely that you can gain 10 miles an hour from one move in 2 weeks, you're just as stupid as the people who buy lottery tickets and plan what they're going to do when they win millions of dollars. Like, be realistic, touch grass, and understand that this concept, and like, please try to listen to me with an open mind, because I want to show y'all how fake and how stupid this concept of hip shoulder separation is. Okay, so the hip shoulder separation theory is saying you want to turn your hips while not turning your upper half, aka segmenting. They say you want to segment your rotation, which is stupid. That is like, makes no sense. You want to turn your hips forward and turn your upper body backwards. If that isn't the most like counterproductive, counterintuitive thing I've ever heard in my life, why would turning my upper body backwards while I turn my hips forward make me throw harder forwards? You're just wasting energy to go the opposite direction of where you want to unload your force. 0 sense whatsoever, okay? So that just doesn't make any sense to me as to why you would want to do that. It's very like counterproductive, it's counterintuitive. Why would turning my hips forward and keeping my upper body backwards make me throw harder? Isn't the whole point of throwing hard to unload everything forward as hard and as violent and as efficient as you can? So why would the secret to throwing gas be that? Why would I turn everything forward but my arm? Well, here's a concept for you. This thing is what throws the baseball. Okay? So I want y'all to just take a step back and really think about this for a second. This whole time, y'all thought turning this forward, but turning the thing you actually throw the damn baseball with that way is going to make you throw harder. Look at me with a straight face now that I've explained it to you like this and tell me that, nah, they're right, you're wrong, Miles. No, you sound like an idiot, okay? So, is the hip leading the shoulder? Yes, the hip is leading the shoulder. But that is not segmented rotation, okay? What that is, for all you people who are like, oh, look, it's hip-shoulder separation, he's doing it. And like, I've seen videos of people and they do it. Let me explain this to you so you can understand it, okay? Let me finish my point, okay? So for all you gurus who are like, dude, I can show you videos of people and hip shoulder separation is real. Like, you can see it, their hips in front of their shoulder. I'm well aware that the hip is here and the shoulder is there, okay? The hip is 100% leading the shoulder. But that's not segmented rotation. He is not keeping his upper body back while he's turning his hips. He's turning everything at the same time. But if you know anything about physics or the body, or you paid attention in middle school and you understand how it works, the hips are right here, okay? The arms are right here. If you're spinning in an office chair or any chair and you're spinning in a circle and you put your arms close together, you will spin faster, and you put your arms out, you will spin slower. Okay, so rotating and spinning are the same thing. That's what you're doing, okay? The hips are going to lead the shoulder because the hips are closer together. They have less ground to cover through the turn. So yeah, your hips are going to be leading your shoulder. That's not separation, okay? You're not separating two different movements. Your hips and your arm, they turn at the same exact time. They turn together, essentially. Just the hip is leading because what we do here? We loaded into it, okay? We held it, okay? Still in our backside. And now, when we land and we go to unload it, we're able to unload all that power. So, you're moving your hips really fast. So, you're moving them fast, and they have less room to cover. That's why the hips lead. Not because he's trying to turn his hips without turning his arm, not segmenting rotation. That's not what that is. You can try to force separation or hip shoulder separation and do those drills and segment it all you want. For the 90% of people who've listened to all that and they bought into it and they tried all the drills that they saw and they did it for months and months and months and never saw any velo progress, you understand that that concept is false. It's not real, okay? What it takes is understanding your body and how that works and understanding that you move faster when you're close together and you turn faster. It's not like rocket science, okay? So it is technically physics, but what it is you turn faster like this, close together, than you do like that, out and wide, okay? So now that we've gone over that and we've established that and that hip shoulder separation isn't real and it doesn't actually matter because it's not a thing that actually does anything and it's not a thing you should do, we can understand that the delivery is not as complicated as everyone makes it seem, okay? It's 3 steps. Leg kick, load, unload, okay? That's it. But obviously, there's more pieces to it. But essentially, if you have a good leg kick, you have a good load, and you have a good unload, which we've covered what makes those good. That's all it is. It's not some guru telling you that there's this magical formula to throw gas, okay? So I'm going to make this a little clickbait for all the people and everything. So here's a little tip, guys. You want to throw 10 miles an hour harder in just 2 weeks? Watch this. What you want to do is when you move your body like that and you do this and you go forward and then you want to actually do a backflip because that's how you're going to get power. So in reality, now you know that if you want to throw 10 miles an hour harder in just like 2 weeks, the best thing you can do is to stop listening to all the bullshit you see on the internet and to start really analyzing this kind of stuff yourself, okay? Because if you do, you can realize and jump to the same conclusions that I did, that a lot of that stuff they talk about, these little secrets to success and throwing hard, it's all stupid. It's not real. It's all bullshit. It's all made up. Triple extension. Yeah, I remember that one. Triple extension. Oh, yeah, I see so much triple extension. Yeah, you're freaking stupid. Hip shoulder separation. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna separate my hips and my shoulders and I'm gonna throw freaking gas. Idiot. Okay. So, we'll play it all in one motion. Now that you kind of have a foundation of all this information, I want you to see it and see if you can spot things in as fast of a motion as kind of possible, okay? So, mind you, this is slow-mo still, but you are able to see some of these efficiencies that we've gone over now in one motion. you can see, like when you play it in one motion, the momentum's really easy to see, right? So just look, you'll see the momentum, you'll see the move down, you'll see him holding his backside, and you'll see everything just unload forward at the same time. Sit, boom. Watch as he unloads. See how everything is just like it literally looks like he's holding himself back. And then it all just goes forward at once. Notice that it goes forward after the foot lands. Foot, boom. Okay. So I hope that y'all learned and y'all actually took notes and y'all are actually going to take me serious when I go over these things. But y'all really have to stop taking everything y'all see on the internet, even the stuff I tell you, stop taking it for absolute truth, okay? Do your own research and actually try to deep dive into the things that people talk about so you can use your own brain to tell what's right and wrong and what's good information and bad information, okay? Anyone who just listens to something and accepts that as that's the truth and that's what I'm going to listen to, even if it's me, don't do that too. Don't be like, oh, Coach Miles said this, so hip shoulder separation isn't real. And then you have, like, when you try to argue with someone that it's not real and you have no clue what you're talking about, then you just look really stupid. And now you're the person with a really controversial opinion for no damn reason at all. At least me, I can explain it. Okay? I don't think hip shoulder separation is real, but I can at least show you why it's not real. If you were to just say, oh, hip shoulder separation isn't real, and now you don't even like have any idea of why you believe that it's not real just because I said so, you like, you hurt my brain and I worry about you. Okay. So that's it for Chase Burns and his mechanics. I hope y'all wrote notes, and if y'all have any other guys that y'all want to see me break down, I can do anyone that y'all want. Okay. But that's it.